Hey, Shalom family, at this time, may the peace of Yah be upon you, may the peace of Yah come upon you at this time. I'm doing this great video at this time that is very important. It's called The Great School of Yah Will Return. So we're going to have to look at the prophet Isaiah, but his real name is Yah, Yah Salvation. So with that, chapter 2, verse 1 to 12, we're going to start off with, brothers and sisters. That is very important that we're going to take a closer look at the words of Yah at this time, because it's very important that we unify and come together, brothers and sisters. Because so much going on in this world, brothers and sisters. We've been persecuted, been oppressed now for over 2,000 years, brothers and sisters. And Abiyah said that we will be driven out of the land into captivity, scattered far away from our land, brothers and sisters, for punishment. Because our ancestors broke the covenant of Yah, brothers and sisters. He said we will be given into the hands of our enemies, in which we are, even until this day. We are ruled by our enemies and under their spirit, brothers and sisters. But Torah Yah, he promised us through Ezekiel, chapter 37, that he was going to pour his spirit back upon us. Yes, he's going to put his spirit in us, which is the spirit of knowledge, brothers and sisters, his laws and his prophecies. Yes, brothers and sisters, and they back with us today, brothers and sisters, as his spirit is being poured out into his people once again, brothers and sisters, that we may repent to him and obey him and do all that he asks us to do, brothers and sisters. And he promised that he will redeem us, bring us back home, brothers and sisters. And through the prophets, he shows all the ways we will return home, because it's all his doing. You got to understand that, brothers and sisters. Each and every one need to have this knowledge. When Abiyah say he can bring us back home, he brings us back home through his knowledge. We're not physically going to see him in America at this time, but we have his knowledge. See, it's the knowledge. Remember what he said before. He said, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Yes, of him. See, when you don't know him, you don't know what he's telling you to do, where to go. Remember, he told Noah to build a ship. Yes, Noah had to physically build a ship. He told Moshe to go down in Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Then they had to physically come out about it there, but Abiyah delivered them. Remember, he said he did all his power. He showed, not all of it, but he did a great powers, great signs upon the Pharaoh, upon Mizraim. But he told Moshe to do certain things, brothers and sisters. He had to do certain things for Abiyah's power to be manifest. We got to do certain things for Abiyah's power to be manifest, for the salvation to be seen. Remember, he said the whole earth going to see his salvation. Yes, that means deliverance. When the nation assembled back together to Yah, we will see his salvation, brothers and sisters. That's the salvation he's talking about. See, some people think a bolt of lightning, like the Christian like to say, they like to come with Acts, they false book about Acts, how they received the Holy Spirit. And it's like came down like a dove. See, they describe this spirit, and that's in the minds of people, mind, that the spirit is come down like a dove and coming upon them, and then they have great power. That's what Acts say, that false book. But the spirit I'll be talking about is the spirit of knowledge. That's why even the prophets said in Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, in chapter 8, 16 to 20, if they don't speak according to my words, the laws and the prophets, the truth is not in them. See? It's the laws, the knowledge. The prophecies of Yah is his word. That's his ruach. Brothers and sisters, that come from Yah. You got to remember that, brothers and sisters. And that's all we see at this time through the writings and through the proclaiming of his words, the words of Yah, the laws is our guide and how we live. It's the way of life. See, the ruach, the way of life, is the spirit of life that guide us and lead us to Yah, to obey Yah. See, it's the words of Yah that come from him. The words that he gave to the prophets, brothers and sisters, that we should obey. And we obey the words of Yah, brothers and sisters, it will lead us all the way to Yah and to our land, brothers and sisters. And in the prophecy, he tells us everything we must do. He tells us how we must rebuild the temple, the slaughter place, how the priests going to set apart the Sabbaths. All of this is found in the writings, brothers and sisters. Our whole map is laid out in the prophets. And the way we live is through our laws. That's how we learn to love each other. That's the way we respect each other, care for each other, through the laws of Yah. It tell you about our agriculture, the foods to eat, the unclean animals not to eat. Yes, it says the priests and the prophecies going to teach us the difference between what is clean and what is unclean. See, all of this is the part of Abiyah's Ruach. So keep these things in mind, brothers and sisters. And this, most likely this might be a part 2. Hopefully my brother will last. But nevertheless, this is where we at right here, brothers and sisters. Let me get right into it, because I want to show you the great school of Yah that will return. And why we must leave all of these colleges, these schools, what they call higher learning. This is not the higher learning I'll be talking about. For one, they do not teach you the moral standards of Yah. That should be the #1 curriculum in the schools subject, but it's not. Brothers and sisters, that's why our people rob and steal. And that's why they cheat and rob in all forms of the government. Brothers and sisters, and even in robbing and taking your money that you work hard for. With all of these unwanted taxes, brothers and sisters, they lay on you. Some people had to pay 30 to 40% of their check is gone because of taxes they pay. So you put in 100% of work, but you only get paid 60% of your money. 65, 67% around about that. Brothers and sisters. So with that, let's get into it. Right here, we're dealing with Isaiah chapter 2. And this is another message to Isaiah. I'm reading this. You might read a little bit for yours. Just giving you another view of it. Living Bible Paraphrase Translation by the publishing company Tinsdale. It said, this is another message to Isaiah from Yah concerning Yah and Yah Shalom. See, the southern nation and the capital city, Yah Shalom, but they got Jerusalem. It said, in the last days, see, it said, in the last days, Yah Shalom and the temple of Yah will become. You see, it say the temple, I mean the third temple got to be rebuilt. Remember I showed you that in the book of Ezekiel chapter 40 to 47, talk about the temple got to be rebuilt right here. So it said the temple of Yah will become the world's greatest attraction. And the people from many lands will flow there to worship Yah. It said, come, everyone will say, let us go up to the mountain of Yah, to the temple of Barah, the creator of Yashael. You see, who gonna be there? If you're of this nation, we're gonna be there teaching, brothers and sisters. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We got to get out of them schools. Why are you gonna be in their schools when we and the earth gonna come to us? Think about that, brothers and sisters. We are only in their school at this time because of punishment, brothers and sisters, of our ancestors. And we are the remnant. But the remnant must obey Yah and must gather. So let me finish right here. It said, there he will teach. You see that? It said, there he will teach us his laws. See, that's what the nation gonna say, those who coming. And we will obey them. You see that? The laws that we got to teach the whole earth, brothers and sisters. Let's keep reading. We will obey them. For in those days, the world will be ruled from SHALOM. You see that? In those days, when we got work to do. That's what I try to tell my brothers. If you are of the family, the nation of Yah and Yah, we got all unite together. We got plenty of work to do, brothers and sisters. These are the prophecies you got to know, brothers and sisters. The whole earth will come to us. So let's keep reading it. It said, and Yah will settle international disputes. All the nations will convert their weapons of war into implements of peace. Then at last all wars will stop and all military training will end. Oh, Yasha, Yah. You see this? This was the message Abiyah gave to Isaiah to give unto his nation. Let me go and say, and oh, Yasha, Yah, come. Let us walk in the light of Yah and be obedient to his laws. You see that, brothers and sisters? He said, come. Let us walk in the light of Yah. We got to come. We got to go back home. We got to go back home, yes, and rebuild them waste places and time. But first we got to gather here and get in order, in line with Yah. Because we're not in order, brothers and sisters. Because if you don't agree to this message which I'm giving this prophecy, you're not in line with Yah. You got other agendas you're trying to accomplish. Brothers and sisters, we got to get in line with the laws of Yah, because we got to teach this whole law to the whole earth. Us first, our nation. That's why I say it's not time now to worry about the other nation teaching the other nation like some thinking about. You got to worry about yourself, our nation. We got to gather. We got to get on one accord with Yah and with each other. We got to rebuild the temple, the slaughter place. All these things that got to go on, brothers and sisters. The priests got to be clean. The Zadok priest, the priests of Yah, of the Levites, got to be clean again. To present all of the offerings before Yah. Let me find my place real quick. Verse 6. It said, Yah has rejected you because you welcome foreigners from the east who practice magic and communicated with evil spirits, see, as the Philistines do. You see that? You see what Abiyah said, brother and sister, why we got rejected before? Our people so concerned about the foreigners and what they are doing and how they help them. You got to help yourself first. We got to get in line as a nation, brothers and sisters. It will come to time we're going to help all the nations. Abiyah said, I read it to you earlier, that all the nations are going to come to us. The war is going to cease, but we got to do all of these things, obey Yah. If you want the wars to cease, you want the persecution to go away from the earth, the hell to go away from the earth, we got to be in line with Yah. The whole earth counts on us, but you got to know that you got to put down the sin. You got to put down the rebellion that gripped our nation. Wanted to be like the other nation, wanted to bring the foreigners in, but we got to obey Yah. Family. He wanted to marry into the foreigners. When Abiyah told us he was setting us apart to him to be Kodesh to him. That through us, the whole earth will have peace and know Yah. But we got to know Yah first, brothers and sisters. Because he chose our nation. Because this one Abraham obeyed Yah. You got to keep this to mind. Take that to heart, brothers and sisters. It's right here. 7. It say, Yashael Yah has vast treasures of silver and gold and great numbers of horses and chariots and idols. The land is full of them. They are man-made, and yet you worship them. Small and great, all bow before them. It said, Barah will not forgive you for this sin. See, that was the one. That's why our people got put out of the land as well. It said, crawl into the caves in the rocks and hide in terror from his honor, majesty, his great majesty. For the day is coming when your proud looks will be brought low, and Yah alone will be exalted. You see that? On that day, Yah of hosts will move against the proud and the haughty and bring them to the dust. See, these are the words of Yah, brothers and sisters. These are the things you got to take in mind as I'm going to go over to verse 17. The punishment, the judgment that came down on our people at that time. He brought our people down low to the dust. So right here, it said in 17 of chapter 2 of Isaiah reads, it said, all the glory, all the honor of mankind will bow low. You see? And the pride of man will lie in the dust. And Yah alone will be exalted. And all idols will be utterly abolished and destroyed when Yah stands up from his throne to shake up the earth, and his enemies will crawl with fear into the holes in the rocks and into the caves because of the honor of his majesty. Then at last they will abandon their gold and silver idols to the moles and bats and crawl into the caverns to hide among the jagged rocks at the tops of the cliffs to try to get away from the terror of Yah and the honor of his majesty when he rises to terrify the earth. Puny man, frail as his breath, don't ever put your trust in him. You see that, brothers and sisters? These are the words of Yah, brothers and sisters, I give unto you at this time. I'm going to do a part 2 on this because it's very important. Then I'm going to come with Micah showing the same thing. This was so important, brother and sister. See, this is what Abiyah going to do. When Abiyah, on his day, when he rises, he going to humble this earth. The proud ones, the hardy ones, the exalted ones, the one call themselves the mighty ones, the gods, will all be abased. They're all going to be humble on the day of Yah. But Abiyah said, brother and sister, in the last days, yes, he said, In the last days, in Yah Shalom, and the temple of Yah will become the world's greatest attraction. And the people from many lands will flow there to worship Yah. Yes, and be taught the ways of Yah, brothers and sisters. We got to get in line, brothers and sisters. I know these things. You got to know these things. You got to take these things to heart, brothers and sisters. Because if you knew Yah and the things I tell you about Yah, you'd be eager. You'd be more ready to obey Yah. To get in line. And that we may unite. Even have a place to unite. Too, brothers and sisters, like a resort. But we all could gather there. Before we go home, brothers and sisters. Because we got work to do. We got a temple we got to build, a slaughter place. The land got to be housed and prepared. But he said the nation's going to help us do these things, brothers and sisters. But we got to know that we are the teachers of Yah. You got to remember that, brothers and sisters. And we are the people of Yah. And we got to get in line with Yah. With that, I'll be back with part 2. Shalom.